Hey y'all, this is Allison hanging out in my space to craft, and I am ready to tackle my daughter's semester wrapped page. I think that's what I want to call it. I have 3 alphas in this page kit. I will use 2 of them. I'm not sure which ones. I have a scrap of some red paper. It got a little damaged somewhere. I don't know. Don't remember. I have some enamel dots. I have some back to school from Echo Park stickers. I think there are a few things on here that might work. I have the photo. This was not taken at the very end of the semester. Obviously, there's football in the background. But I love this picture, and I don't think I've scrapbooked it yet. I have some more scraps. I love this composition paper, some red scraps, some glitter if I want to use it. These are already cut as banners. I don't know if that's going to work or not. I might use these small ones. I think that might work. I have some fun sort of cheetah print black and this. I have this grid, which I was planning to use. I have this red chevron. And then while I was thinking about it, I was picturing it with a black border, but I don't know if I really want to do a black border. Maybe I want to do like a big chevron border, like cut this down a little. I think that might work, because my idea is to use Ginger's Corner 3 prompts, 3 pages. From back in January, I had to use red paper, triangles, and enamel dots. And what I thought to do was to put her semester accomplishments on little red, triangle pennants. So do I still want the grid for that? And I don't think that the red would show up on here. So I can't use that for everything. I think what I'm going to do is see what I can cut this down to and use this as a border. I believe that is my plan. And then I can do the pennants here and her photo here, or vice versa. The photo here, but she's sort of facing this way. So I think the photo needs to go here, and then pennants here, and then title here, semester wrapped. Or at the bottom, maybe the title should go at the bottom if it's really wrapped. Okay, that's my plan. I'm going to speed up from here on out and come back and talk to y'all on the other side. All right, well, this is going to be a little bit longer of a video because this page was a process, y'all. So first I cut off all 4 sides of this paper completely unnecessarily, as you will see. But I was trying to retain the numbers and all sorts of stuff, and I didn't need to do this. Oops, sorry, something happened there. So I'm looking at it. I went back and cut several times. And inked the edges, and then I'm going to gut the matte paper, or the frame paper, if you will. And I'm going to do this at 1 inch all the way around. And here's where, not off the rails, but here's where my plan changes a little. So I was pretty consistent for a change with my 1-inch border. And then I set it down there and I'm like, oh, I really like that. Oh, I like the bolder, bigger. So I'm going to ink the inside of the frame. See, I didn't have to cut anything off of that other page. I could have just left it where it was. But which you do you, whichever, if you're creating a page similar to this, whatever works for your papers and your look, you do that. So it's nice to know you can put the frame on top or put the background paper on top. So I'm just going to trim up my photo a bit. And my printer was still printing a little crooked. I'm sure it's operator error. Now I want to create some layers. Unfortunately, this is a little too narrow to be a full layer, but I'm going to work with it anyway. I am going to get a full border of this beautiful sort of leopard print in black embossed paper. It's really fun. And just trimming everything up a bit. So there's not going to be a ton of this paper showing here, but I also use it for some letters. All right, so now I'm just going to create some layers of this composition paper. I'm just doing this approximately the same. And then I'm going to layer them behind to create some alternating layers. One is longer than the other. So I kind of am liking that framed look there. Now, what I need to do now is create some triangles. So I have a little scrap of paper that is 2 inches by 3.5. I wrote that on there so you could see. Then I just need to find the center of one end to create triangles. I had gone and looked in my punches and my die cuts to see if I had one that was about the right size, and I didn't. So I made one, and I did a little experimenting. The first one I did was only 1.5 inches tall, and that was not tall enough. So here I just am going to use this as a template and cut some triangles out of this scrap of paper. And then I'm just going to use scissors to hand cut it. Because I'm going to ink, and I'm not too particular about it. Everything came out fine. And this is faster than lining it up in my trimmer to cut all these angles. And honestly, I can be a little more accurate this way. Worked out great. And that leaves me with, I think, 6. I'm going to end up using 5. And I had thought that they would go on the other side, but I really like them better on this side. And even though she's glancing to the left, her guns up is pointing to the right. So I think that that works for this page. Again, I use repositionable adhesive, and so I play around with my layers and stuff quite a bit. Now I need to turn these into actual pennants, you know, with a different color on the edge and little tags and ties. So here I'm just creating the edging and then some even thinner ones to be the little ties off it. And again, this was a process. So that's why I've sped this video up to 4 times normal speed. I usually do about 3 times normal speed, maybe 3.2, but I spent quite a while. This is making these embellishments, fussing around with them a bit, trying to make them look consistent. And on that one, I had put the wrong side up, the side with some pencil marks. So I'm just flipping that. So I could have stopped here, but I'm extra like that. So we're going to make the little ties that stick off a pennant. I'm just at this point thinking about how I'm going to do those. And I'm going to cut some more little strips. Here I'm just doing an experiment to see if it works, because I don't think I've cut all the strips that I need yet. Now the critical, not critical, but the thing that was throwing me off here was that they might be a different width, and so I needed quite a few, and I wanted them to be consistent widths. But I got there in the end. So just a little dollop of glue and 2 little tags. There may be a faster way for y'all to do this, but I'm done with all 5 of them. And now I've also written down the words I want to say that on each of the tags. Since I have 5 tags, I wanted 5 items to discuss. I also, while I was messing around, I cut this little tag out of that same cheetah paper. So I have to, and then I'm going to put the title at the bottom. And I know what I want for the title. I want to say Semester Wrapped. So I'm going to use these very plain, slightly italicized letters for the word semester. Sorry, my dog. Must be somebody walking by. And then I'm going to write the word wrapped. And I try out these Vicky Bouton letters, but they just aren't going to show up. I did think about inking them, but they're collagey. They're just a different feel. They're not going to work. They're not going to be what I want. And I know that wrapped is a long word. So while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to pull out a few pieces of ephemera and a few stickers and start thinking about embellishment. And then I'm going to go off and cut on my manual die cutting machine a whole bunch of letters for the word wrapped. So I've got a combination of some chipboard and some stickers here. So I've done the word wrapped, and what I did was I cut it out of the black cheetah paper, and then I cut 2 more copies of each in white, and then I've stacked those together to give it a little more substance, to give it a little more dimension. And then I'm going to wrap the word wrapped. So I've got this silver twine that I've used many times. I'm almost out of it. It won't last too much longer. And then I'm going to put down my 3 thick letters. This one I'm going to end up having to glue that that end. And Since the other one is very straight, this I'm going to make much less straight, like it's been collected together in this string. It's actually stretchy silver twine. So as I start to pull it together, that W's coming up. So I'm just going to glue down the outside edge of that W so it will be held in. You know, I really want that glue press from Sweet Petunia because I am tired of doing battle with my glue bottles and them getting stuck. Sorry. All right, that's better. Cleared my throat off camera or off audio. And now I'm going to just build some little ephemera collections. Remembering to ink everything as I go. And here's where I decide, you know what, I think I want to add some more silver here. So I'm going to actually add some silver paper. It's holographic and it has stars on it. I thought that might be perfect. And I've created a little space for some ephemera here. This is where I go into my scraps and pull out a piece of holographic paper. And I think that's going to be super cute. And pull in a little more silver. Probably means I should have put something silver up in that top one as well, but I didn't do it. But it's all right. All right, so just reassembling this. I do add a little glue to make sure the paper stay where I want it. And then I had to switch out my adhesive runner. And I decided to pop up the little pencil. So we're getting close to the end. I just need to write my journaling. And I start out writing using the thin end of my Creative Memories paper. Boy, I'm sure glad I just had my hair colored. Y'all aren't seeing all my gray. And it's okay. But this one I decided I wanted to do the numbers. I wanted it to be a little bolder. So I'm going to go ahead and overwrite that using the fatter end. So I put the number of classes that she had, trips home, that she conquered math. She got it over a 100 in that class on average, her average, and that they were Big 12 champions. So I think that's pretty fun. I've pulled out some enamel dots. I have some black ones, some red ones from a couple different packs, and then yellow, since there's a little bit of yellow in some of the ephemera. And there you have it. I think that's everything. Please give this video a thumbs up. I really enjoyed this 3 prompts, 3 pages from Ginger's Corner. Even though I'm over a month late for this one, it was still fun. I've had this one in my mind for a while, so I'm glad I finally got to it, and I'm really pleased with how this page turned out. So let's take some close-ups. I'm just gonna make sure I secure down some edges here. And that is this page wrapped. Thanks a lot, you guys. Come on back to my space to craft.